I'll tell the story of how the guy gave me the money for my EP. And then I will play a song from the EP, the one that made him cry. And then I will say, hey, I'd love to give this EP to you for free. Just pull out your cell phone, and text this to me, and I will give you my whole album for free.
Welcome to the Female Entrepreneur Musician Podcast with Bree Noble. Bree is a musician, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Women of Substance Music Radio and Podcast. Bree's interviews with successful female musicians and industry pros are both inspirational and informational. She also answers your questions about the music business. Bree is on a mission to help you create great music, connect with your fans, and grow your business, and to truly become a female entrepreneur musician.
Hey, this is Bree Noble. Thanks for listening to the Female Entrepreneur Musician Podcast today, where we help you learn how to make great music, how to connect with your audience, and how to grow your business. And this episode is all about a really cool tool that you can use to grow your business and grow your audience. So in the spirit of this tool, because I'm not going to talk about it yet, I'm going to talk about it with my guest, I am going to ask you to send a text to the phone number 678-506-7543. That's 678-506-7543. And in that text, I want you to type FEM, like female entrepreneur musician, but just type the letters FEM. So you're probably wondering, why am I telling you to do that? Well, that's going to all become apparent in the episode. But if you do that, you are going to get a very special gift. So try that out. See how it works, and keep listening to the episode, and you'll see what we're talking about and why I told you to do that and how this can help you connect with your fans. I am talking today with Carey Keavy. She's actually a listener of this show who contacted me because this was something she started using in her music business, and she was so excited about it that she wanted to tell all you guys about it. And I had already been thinking of doing an episode about this subject. A lot of people are talking about it right now in my circle. And so I was ready to do one. And then she contacted me and I'm like, oh, this is so much better. I can interview somebody who's actually doing it in their music business. So before we get to that, I want to go ahead and give away our free month of the Female Musician Academy that I always give away on the first week of the month, every month, to somebody who gave us a review on iTunes. And I chose one at random, and this one is a very lovely review from somebody who's been an artist on Women of Substance. This review is from the iTunes name Sonic Boom 11, and it says, "Girl power at its best." It says, "I first met Bree when she played my music on Women of Substance. As in most businesses, the music industry has tended to be a man's world, and it's really great to see that Bree has created an all-women's niche like this. I love to hear that she's continuing to support women through podcasts and festivals." Thanks so much for that review. Now, Sonic Boom 11, please contact me at Bree@femusician.com. That's F as in female, E as in entrepreneur, musician.com. Contact me and I'll get you hooked up with your free month of the Female Musician Academy. And if you would like to win a free month, please go to iTunes. Make sure you find us in the iTunes store and search for us there, Female Entrepreneur Musician, and then go to the second tab. Once you've clicked on our little cover art there, go to the second tab that says ratings and reviews, and just go ahead and leave a written rating and make sure to leave your name or something so I can identify you on the show in case you win. And now to my interview with fan of this show and artist, Carey Keavy. Here's a little info about her. Carey Keavy is a singer-songwriter from Minneapolis, Minnesota, who wears many hats as women often do. She's the mother of 4 sons, a wife, a marketing maiden who owns Groundwork Marketing and loves helping small business owners and musicians market their dreams. She plays piano, ukulele, guitar, and has mad kazoo skills. She started writing and performing later in life at age 30 and just released her first EP, Distant Lands, in 2015. Here is my interview with Carey Keavy.
So that's a little bit about Carey Keavy. Carey, is there anything you want to tell us that's maybe not in your bio that's a little bit more personal about you?
I did put a lot in my bio. One of the maybe fun things I didn't put in there is that our family has a ferret, which we love very much.
That's interesting. Do you have kids?
I have 4 children. Yeah.
Okay.
4
Wow.
boys.
Wow. And they love the ferret, I assume.
Oh, more than life itself. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, how did you get started in music?
About 10 years ago, I'm 40 now and I was 30 at that time. And I just started kind of dinking around with a guitar, and started writing, and I was super shy. I wouldn't sing in front of anyone, but I started pushing myself to the place where I would get comfortable singing in front of people. And I started getting really good feedback. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm like halfway decent at this. So that's kind of, I started singing in church and leading worship in church. And then I started performing in coffee shops, and then have just kind of progressed from there.
That's great. Do you consider yourself now a full-time musician, a part-time musician? If you're part-time, then, do you supplement with like a full-time job, or do you have other music-related things that you're doing on the side?
Sure. I'm actually in the transition right now of leaving my career and pursuing music more fully. So it's kind of a crazy transition time for me right now. But so I do work full time right now, and then so I would consider myself a part-time musician until probably 2 weeks from now, when I will be jumping in head first into.
Wow, that's awesome. So are you a little bit freaked out to be kind of going out there on your own and doing music full time?
I mean, I am freaked out. I'm positioning myself in such a way that I'm having a couple of different part-time jobs, and you know what I mean? So I'm just so I can have more flexibility, and just listening honestly to your podcast. I listen to it every day. Because I'm a little freaked out by the whole thing, but just hearing like the stories of all these women that have done the same thing, and I'm like, I can do this. It just takes, it takes a risk. You have to take the risk, and you have to jump out, and you have to have more time to make music and create. And that's what I'm aiming for right now, is just like, having that time. So.
That's so true, because number one, if you have a full-time job, sometimes you get so comfortable that you never take that risk, and then you never really go as far as you could.
Yep.
And it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that jumping off point thing.
It is. And I'm just so done with it. I mean, I'm commuting literally 150 miles a day.
Oh.
And, and I love my job so much, but it's just time. It's, when you find yourself not having time to write and not having time to do the things that you want to do, producing and making videos. There's so many things I want to do. I'm just not having the time to do it right now. So it's time for me to take the leap. And I thank you for providing such an awesome show that encourages women like us. So.
Oh, you are welcome. So just curious, since we've got a lot of people that are in a similar position as you, what have you decided are going to be your side kind of gigs to keep money coming in during this time? And do you have them yet, or are you still to pursue them? So
I took on, in addition to my full-time job, I took on a part-time job for this crazy little, it's like an escape room here in Minneapolis. And so I'm working for them part-time, doing some marketing work for them as well, but just also helping run the house. So I've been doing that for the last couple months, just to kind of get my feet in. And then I will be doing another part-time marketing job, probably 20 to 30 hours a week, which I'm interviewing for a couple of them actually next week. So those are kind of like the things that are just going to keep me stable and keep an income coming in, so I can still pay my bills. And then I'm planning on doing some touring, and I just released my first album, but I'm going to be working towards my next one. So those are the things that I'm kind of using to pay the bills right now.
Makes sense. Have you found that your marketing career has really helped you in marketing your own music, or have you kind of had a hard time moving that kind of corporate style marketing into music marketing?
No, I think it definitely helps. It helps a lot. And in marketing, sending a newsletter, or, with my own website, that kind of thing. I'm a graphic designer too. So all those things help. I can make my own posters, make my own, graphics for my website or whatever. So that has definitely come in handy for sure.
Oh yeah, that really helps. That's saving you a lot of money there doing it yourself. That's great. So when you started, if you think back to when you started and you were in coffee houses and you were just kind of building up your chops and stuff, is there any time that you felt like, I can't do this. I'm hitting a wall. I'm not making any progress. And then how did you push through that to get where you are today, where you're just doing that jumping off thing and going into music full time? Because I think that's really encouraging to some of our listeners.
Sure. Okay, so when I first started, I think there was a period of time when I didn't even know if I was any good, and so I was just doing it because it was something fun to do. And I have 4 kids. My kids are older now. They go from 12 to 20. But at that time, 10 years ago, having a career in music wasn't even something I could even think about because I didn't want to neglect my kids. And, I wanted to be a good mom. And so I felt like being a musician would be like, oh, I have to be on tour all the time and I wouldn't spend time with my children. So I had this misconception of my brain about how that would look. And so I was like, oh, when my kids are grown, I'll do this, and some of my friends were like, okay, Carey, what are you going to do? Be 60 when you do this? And that really hit me. I was like, I guess that is kind of foolish, isn't it? Like, what a foolish way to think, And so that kind of started me into this trajectory. And then so I was working part-time for a doctor. This was about 5 years ago. And I had been playing, here and there. I mean, playing, maybe once a month or whatever for a few years. And a client in the doctor's office heard my stuff online. And I'd only met this guy a couple of times. And he emailed me and said, hey, I'd love to meet with you. I listened to your music and I would love to meet with you. So I met with him in a coffee shop. He basically said he listened to one of the songs some song that I had online. It was really poorly recorded. And he said, I love your music. Your song made me cry 3 times every time I listened to it. I want to give you, and he just like literally handed me a check for thousands of dollars and said,
oh, wow.
He was like, I want to help you make your first album. And I was like, wow, oh my gosh. And he was just basically saying like, this is a gift. You don't ever have to pay me back. I just want your first album. The world needs to hear your music. And I was just like, wow. Okay. So it was like at that point when I really turned a corner and I was like, I guess I probably have to do this thing, so now I have this money, it's not, I had an excuse before of like, I don't have enough money to go in the studio. Now I did. So that was really what propelled me into, so that I started recording my first EP, and so it's more been like a backward shift where I was like, thought I couldn't do it and have progressively come into the point where I'm like, I think I can now. So through a series of things that have happened to me, and encouragement from other people.
That's amazing. I mean, if you had stopped and just said, oh, I'm not that good, or not that many people are coming to my shows or whatever, when you first start, you would have never had that experience if you hadn't been brave enough to put something online, even though it wasn't perfect.
Yep. Yeah, and it was terrible. But so yeah, it's been a crazy, amazing journey. It's really kind of jump-started. Once you have a product, once I have an EP, I've seen some things really start rolling for me. And I've, gotten to play with some of the best songwriters here in Minneapolis, which I'm, so thrilled to have formed friendships with them. And it's really been a fun experience. So I'm excited for the future. And no looking back.
That's great. Now, I noticed that you offer a free download. I'm assuming that you use some of the music from your EP that you recorded for that. How has that worked for you as far as getting new people to know about your music and people on your email list?
That's been a great resource, and it's been a great resource. I think it's, I just am at the point where I'm like, I'll give everything away for free. I don't care right now. I don't care to make money. I really need to build a fan base. And so I think the more that I give away for free right now it's better for me marketing wise. And I think that it's fun to be able to give things away to people too. I really enjoy that. So I definitely, it's a great way to kind of hook people into your mailing list. I mean, honestly. So
yeah, I think that's a really good mindset when you're starting out. I mean, you can't be stingy with your music because people don't know its value yet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what platform do you use to give away your music?
When I host my website on a place called Bandzoogle, and I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am. Mm-hmm.
It's so basically they have intertwined in their system a way for you to upload your music, and you can create download codes that you can print out, labels, and stick them on the back of cards or whatever. So when you're at a show, you can literally give free downloads away, and each code is only good for a download. And you can also, let people download it for free. You can set it to be like, oh, I'll give this to them for free for their email address in exchange, or just give it for free without anything in exchange. So there's different levels that you can set the downloads at, which is really helpful. So I really love having that built into the system. It's kind of nice.
That's great that Bandzoogle has that built in for sure. Yeah. Do you also use something like Noisetrade?
I am on Noisetrade. Yep, I have my album on Noisetrade and a couple of other songs that my former band produced. So Noisetrade is a great way to get some exposure. I also do Jango. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jango. That's been a great way. I've gotten fans from all over the world from that, and it's it's a paid service, but I really have gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of fans from that site. So,
does Jango have a way to get people on your mailing list?
You can actually message the fans that become fans. You can personally message them and start communicating with them and building a relationship with them, which has been really great. And so I usually, when someone becomes my fan, I'll just message them and offer them more free downloads or a free download and get them to come to my website. And then that's the way that I would pull them into my mailing list then.
That's great. I didn't even know they had that ability. That's a real. So how much is it for Jango?
It's
is it per month?
I think it's like $30 a month. And basically you have your own channel. It's kind of like, Pandora or whatever. And then, it shows you how many people played your song and how many people became your fan and, all that stuff. So I'm probably getting, I would say, this might not be a lot for someone else, but for where I'm at, I'm getting, probably 2 to 3 new fans a week from different places like Korea and Japan and the Philippines, like all these places. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't even know that avenue was available to connect with the fans through Jango. So what kind of venues are you playing right now?
We have a lot of great clubs here in Minneapolis for original music. And we're very blessed to have just a ton of places to play. So, I have some of my very favorite places. They're fun little clubs that are kind of, basement clubs and just awesome vibe. We have like, there's kind of, I guess you would call it middle of the road. It's kind of between coffee shop and playing the best clubs, and that's kind of where a lot of us fall right now. But I'm, pushing myself to get to that next level of booking into the nicer clubs, which is what my goal is. So
that's a really good goal to have. But it's nice that you have those middle of the road.
Yeah.
Like, because coffee shops, people are just coming there to get coffee and maybe they'll hear some music. But yeah. It sounds like something like this is actually a music destination.
Yeah, people go there to hear live music, and some of them have built-in audiences, which is really nice. That's been really nice. Obviously you have to bring your own, but how they set it up here, I don't know how they do it in your state, or your city, but basically, you get the door, whatever you bring in, you get the door, and so you can split that money or whatever. So the more people you bring in, the more money you make, kind of thing. But they do also have some built-in audiences, which is also very nice. And you get to meet other musicians that are on the bill. So it's been a great way to network.
Oh, yeah, that's really important. And do you find that the people that go to these kind of venues are like merchandise buyers?
Yeah, they could be. I don't have any merchandise right now other than, but I think I've seen, I've played with some touring acts, and I definitely have seen a lot of support from the audiences for touring acts buying T-shirts and CDs and things like that. So definitely consumers of that thing. I think people here in the Twin Cities, definitely we have a very strong arts community, and people really want to support the arts, and it's, kind of in the culture. So it's a great place.
That's awesome. So I want to go into why I invited you on this show, because you have been a listener, as you said, and you emailed me and you said, I just really want to share this awesome new way that I've been getting people onto my email list. And it may be something that your listeners don't know about or don't know how to execute. And, I knew about this, but I haven't delved into all the technology of it. And I haven't set it up yet for myself. And I just think it's really great. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about how you are getting people onto your email list now at your concerts. And first of all, talk about what you were trying to do before. Were you just having a list on your table, or were you, asking people from the stage, and what kind of success you had with that? And then explain how you're doing it now.
Sure. I think what really prompted this was okay, I've spent the last 10 years. I consider the last 10 years of my whatever music career to be when I was building my chops, getting my 10,000 hours of mastery, so I didn't feel like I was to the level that I wanted to be at yet to be pursuing these bigger goals. And, I felt like I really had a lot of work to do, and I've played as much as I can possibly play. And, I've really honed my skills and craft, and I feel like I'm ready to go to the next level. So So I figured, okay, that was the stage of building my chops. And now I'm at the stage where I really need to focus on building a fan base. And that's where I'm at right now. So what would happen to me in the past, and it's so silly, but I would literally print out a mailing list to bring to a show. I'd bring the pen. I would set the list at the back of the room or front of the room or wherever. And I would talk to myself and say, okay, after X song, I'm going to invite people to go sign up for my mailing list. And I would do this like at every show. I would get to the show and I would know I was supposed to say that, but I would chicken out every single time. I was just like, oh, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I hated asking people to do that because it just felt so salesy to me. I don't know why.
Which is so interesting since you worked in marketing.
I know, isn't it weird? I just have.
It's very ironic.
It feels like so bold and so like, I don't know, so narcissistic. So I would get mad at myself every time I would go home from a show. Like, oh, you just missed all these opportunities to get these great people on your mailing list. And, so I did that for like 2 years, literally. And then to the point where I just finally stopped printing the mailing list because I was like, you suck. You're not ever going to be able to do this. So you have to think of something else. Like I was like, I knew I needed something different, that would make me propel me into doing this. So I, being in marketing, I do research and find different, fun things that come up and to help businesses. And so I had stumbled across this keyword thing and I thought, how could I translate that into, what I do on stage? And there's gotta be a way to translate that. It's mostly for businesses but I can probably figure out a way to do this. So I brainstormed for a long time about how that might look and how I could probably integrate that into my stage act. And so basically, the system is, you subscribe to a service. You can pick any keyword that you want. It usually comes free with the service. You pick any keyword, so you can make up anything. Like yours could be Brie Noble or asparagus. It doesn't matter what the keyword is. It might want to be something that people know how to spell asparagus.
Probably a good idea.
Like, how do you spell asparagus? So basically, when you're on stage, you can say, hey, I'd love to do whatever, give you free downloads or do whatever. And they can text this keyword to the number that you give them that's given to you by the company. So that's what I had figured out how to do. So is to announce this on stage, have people pick up their cell phones and text this keyword to my number. And then it would get me their phone number and then possibly their email address. So that's what I've been doing.
Wow. And what kind of experience have you had with that? Are people responsive?
It has been so amazing because like people are actually really excited to do it because they think it's really weird and cool, and so I've had people say to me, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. This was just like, even if I didn't get something free, this is just a cool idea. Like, so the audience was saying things like that to me the last show I did. And so and you can have fun with it. You can, I'll put a little bit of pressure on people. And so I usually set it up. So I'm like, I'll tell the story of how the guy gave me the money for my EP. And then I will play a song from the EP, the one that made him cry. And then I will say, hey, I'd love to give this EP to you for free. Just pull out your cell phone, and text this to me and I will give you my whole album for free. And so there's an emotional engagement that happens with them. They're excited about it. They've just heard this sappy story. And people generally like that song. I don't particularly like that song anymore, but they do. And so it creates like this moment. And then I'll put a little bit of pressure on them. I'll just kind of wait and ask them to hold up their phone. And it has had really, really good results.
Yeah, that's really smart to set it up that way by telling that story, by singing that song, and then saying, I want to give you this for free. Like you've gotten them emotionally involved in the song.
Yep.
And it's just like one more little step for them to do this. It just really is a great setup. And
then they don't feel like I'm being salesy. I don't feel like I'm being salesy. They don't feel like I'm being salesy. They're like, wow, that's so nice of her, and I feel like I'm being generous, which helps me tremendously into not feeling like I'm some kind of creepy, toupee wearing car salesman. So So that's been a great way. I'm not afraid to do it. I've really confident about it, and it's actually really fun. And people, so we'll spend a good few minutes while I'm on the stage helping them to remember, what they're going, what, text it to what, how do you spell that? That kind of thing. And so you're interacting with the audience, and then after the show, if some of them weren't successful, I can walk around and help them text it, or if they didn't want to do that, I can get their email address. Then I've done that. Go around and make friends with people and grab their email address then instead. So what
now do you say, like, what if they don't have their phone? Do you say, like, if you don't have your phone with you, you can always come and put your email address down at the merch table or something?
Yeah. So I'll usually just walk around to the people afterwards and shake hands with people. And then I'll just take their email address and I'll send them the download. And then it's a nice way to get a personal email from me, and, I'll add them to my mailing list at that time. So when you do this whole system, the way it's worked best for me is that the texting service allows you to send a response text. So when someone texts me that initial text, I can send a customized response to them. That response has a link, which links back to a customized web page that I've created on my own site. And then that's where they can get all the downloads. And so I've made that page really fun. Like, I have some really stupid pictures of myself saying, hey, there's free downloads here, and making goofy faces. And so they can download all the songs from that page. They can also see my upcoming shows from that page. They can like me on Facebook from there. I have a video embedded in there. But once they text me, I get their phone number. Now, if they download a song, if they download a song, I will get their email address from that. So I can potentially get two forms of contact from them from just, one simple act.
Okay. I was wondering how that worked as far as getting their email address then. So only if they download, you get their email address. Just
because that's the way I've set it up. I could probably do it differently, but basically they're on my text list now. So anytime I play a show, I can text them, as opposed to emailing them. But I can always, now that they're on my text list, I can communicate with them, and do marketing to them on the text list too, and get them to come to my website or get them to send me their email address. I can further that relationship now.
And how has the response been when you text them? Like, so say if you've got a show coming up and you've got this text list, and you text them and say, hey, come out to my show on Friday night at this place. Do you ever get any people going like, why are you texting me? Or, they don't remember that they gave you their number, or, or like, this isn't appropriate for, because I always feel a little uncomfortable. And I know this is new, mobile marketing is new and it's getting more popular, but I feel uncomfortable, like, that texts are extremely personal.
Yep.
And I would be like, I feel like I'd be invading their space.
Yeah. And I think that, because I do take the time to kind of go around and meet people after the show, and I think that helps a little bit, but also I think when, in this day and age, whenever someone gets something for free, or they send something to somewhere, or they sign up for an email, put their email in to get something for free, I think they're expecting to be added to a list. I think that's just an expectation. And they can opt out at any time. Like, every time that you send a text from the mobile app, they can opt out anytime they want. So, and it says that right in the end of every text. So that's kind of nice to not feel so spammy, but really they opted into this list as soon as they texted, so I haven't had any bad responses or replies. I mean, I'm going to lose some people eventually when I start, reminding them a lot about shows and stuff, but that's kind of how it works. You know how it works.
Absolutely. It is very important that they have that link to be able to opt out easily, yep. Just like with emails. And I'm sure back in the day when we started sending emails, we felt the same way about it.
Exactly.
Like, it was like your personal space.
Yep.
So now it's just becoming that way with mobile. And I think, we just changed our mindset a little bit. And so I'm glad that you told me that there's that link there. That makes me feel a lot better about it, because I am going to start doing this with my business. I've been wanting to start doing this. I just haven't had time to set it up. But I think for musicians, it is so awesome to be able to do during a show,
yeah.
Because like you said, you can instruct them. Like, I always tell people, don't assume that people know anything. Like, don't just say that. Like, actually say, okay, take out your phone. It's like a teacher in front of a class.
Yeah.
You got to tell them what to do.
Absolutely. And I would recommend, like, when you choose your keyword, try to choose something that's easy to say and understand because, mine is like free music. And I think I might change it because it's probably more complicated. I like squished free music together as a compound word. And I wish I wouldn't have done that. So I think I might purchase another, because I have to explain that every time. Free music, but squish it together like a compound word, so so I think Minneapolis is still available. So I'm going to probably choose that instead. And so when you're choosing your keyword, make sure you choose something that's easily heard and like people can spell easily, because that can get you into it. It's just more problem than it's worth, don't like.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't want to choose your name because your name could be spelled Kerry. There's, so many different ways, right? Carie,
No way would I ever choose my name because people can never spell my name right. So, yeah.
And I feel the same way about my name. I'd be like, no, not like the cheese, so I don't think I would do that.
No. So just, that is one of the things. And then another thing too, is it's not only helpful during shows, but like when you're out at the grocery store, if I'm out at a coffee shop, just getting coffee and, you run into people and you make small talk or, meet people at parties. This has come in handy then too. Cause I'll be like, oh, I'm a musician. Or, oh, you're a musician. You're a songwriter. Yeah. Hey, I'd love to give you some free music. Just grab your phone and text this to this. So and I've done that like several times and it works out really well, just even for a conversation. I've also put it at the bottom of my business cards. So if I hand out a business card, it just says text this, keyword to this number for free downloads. So it actually is a really sweet way to just form all kinds of relationships. I'm really excited about it. Which is why I emailed you.
Yes, no, I could tell you were excited, and I was excited because I've been wanting to delve into this and discuss this, and I just hadn't had time to do the research. So I'm glad you did it for me.
I was just after I started using this, I was like, I'm getting like 60 to 70% of my audience on my mailing list every show right now. Like I'm like,
wow.
That is crazy to me. Well, to me, that's awesome. And I was like, the world needs to know about this goodness. So I thought I would tell you because I figured your listeners could really benefit from it. So I'm so glad that you were able to have me on the show and just so I can tell her.
Absolutely. And it's not just you. I know many musicians that are uncomfortable with the asking for email addresses kind of thing. And it's logistically difficult because you have to get them back to the table or you have to get one of your team members to walk around.
Yep.
And, this is just a really cool way to do it easily and kind of make it fun and part of the show, as you said, and break things up a little bit during the show. With the keyword, are you competing against other people or is it like you get this particular phone number and then you can choose as many keywords as you want?
So each mobile company, there are several different ones. You just have to Google, keyword, whatever, like purchase a keyword. Each mobile company, they have their own number to dial into. So it would be it's like a 5-digit number that each company has their own number. So when you subscribe to their service, you get to choose your keyword, but it's always the same number. So you could have 10 different keywords, which is also another cool thing, is you could have 10 different keywords. And when you're in different cities playing, you might play in Minneapolis. We'll text the word Minneapolis here, or you might be playing in Chicago and you can change it to Chicago so that you know where those people are from. So when you go back to that city, then you can, only text the people that are in Chicago when you're going to play in Chicago. You know what I mean? So you can segment it that way. But yes, it's like a domain name where you search to see if it's available. It's kind of like, and so you're not competing against another person. You get your own individual keyword.
So I'm actually amazed that you got free music.
Yeah.
Which means not that many musicians are doing it because you're not competing, at least with this particular company you're using, you're not competing with anybody for that.
No. And I was surprised that Minneapolis was available. I'm like, oh. So
wow.
I'm probably going to snatch that one up really fast.
And how much do you pay? Like, do you pay a monthly fee and then extra for each keyword, or you just pay by keyword?
So it's the service that I'm using is $9.99 a month, which is so dirt cheap. $9.99 a month just to have the service and to have the keyword. But you have to fill your account up with credits so that when people do send the text, you have to have credits in order for to send that response text. That auto reply. So, but it's like ridiculously cheap. So it's like 2.5 cents per text. So if I go to a show and I get 20 people to sign up on my mailing list, that's only going to cost me 2.5 cents per person. So every time you send an outgoing text, it charges you 2.5 cents. But when they send an incoming text, it doesn't cost anything, is how the company that I'm using is set up. So,
okay. So it's you set up like an autoresponder
Yep.
that you then pay for. So when they send their thing in, it doesn't cost you, but as soon as you respond to them, which is automatic,
Yep.
it charges you.
Yep. And anytime I promo something,
Right.
whatever, then that's when it would. And you can choose who you send it to. You can always segment the list too when you're sending out a blast.
And then do you pay extra for each keyword that you add? Yeah. Or is it just always number of people?
The way that this one is set, that you pay the $9.99 a month, one keyword comes for free. So you can purchase a separate keyword, and I think they're like $10 each or something like that. They're really
like for the year or something.
I don't know how long you get to keep it. I'm not sure how long. It probably is a year, I would assume.
And so what is the service that you use?
It's mobomix.com is the one that I'm using.
Okay. Do you know of any other names of any other ones that are a good option?
I've used one called Call Loop before.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the one that business people use that I know about is Call Loop.
Yeah, but I think they're a little bit more expensive than MoboMix, and they're probably more well known, which is why when I have been with MoboMix, I've gotten more of my choice of keywords. You know what I mean? I would assume that like with Call Loop, a lot of them are taken already. So
right.
So maybe using a smaller company is better for you.
I don't see why not. I mean, it's the same technology. Why not?
Yep.
Get it for cheaper? It's
so. I mean, I'm just amazed about how cheap this is, and I'm so excited about this whole thing.
That's awesome. So let's see. Are there any other questions I wanted to ask you about this? Because I just think it's amazing. I think I have asked every question that I had on here. Do you have anything else you want to let people know about it?
No, that was pretty much it. I think I talked a lot about it because I'm just so stinking excited about it. I really hope that, if anyone is struggling the way that I have with, the whole, I don't know, maybe it's false humility thing on the stage, that they're able to kind of break through that. And I'm thankful to hear that other people do struggle with that. Because I always feel like, I'm a musician. I should be this narcissist and I should be like this person that thinks I'm so awesome. But, I do know some musicians like that. But for the most part, I think a lot of us are kind of introverted in some senses, and, we don't like to really promote ourselves. And, I hope this can help.
Yeah, that's so true. I was just talking, doing a class in the Female Musician Academy yesterday, and I was talking about how I always felt uncomfortable putting my name on a t-shirt. Because how weird is that? Why would someone walk around with my name on their t-shirt? So then I decided to make t-shirts based upon either a theme of my program or, the name of my album or something. And then just put my name in small letters because it just was weird to me. Who wants to wear a Bree Noble t-shirt? I
don't think people understand that. I've told people, because I've been kind of forced to go solo for a little while. I'm working on building a duo, a guy-girl duo right now, but I don't want to be a solo artist. So and I just hate the idea of being solo. And everyone's like, oh, you should be the Carey Keavy band when you form a band. I'm like, there is nothing in my body that would ever want my name in a band. I just don't want that, So I think that probably ties in the whole why I was so creeped out to promote myself on stage. It's whatever. I don't even know what the issue psychologically is. I need some therapy apparently, but so anyway, No,
that makes sense. I mean, I never had a problem being myself as an artist. It just seemed weird to put my name on things.
Yep.
I don't want any coffee cups with my name on it or, private label coffee, Bree Noble coffee or, whatever. It just seemed very odd to me, but I think it's great when people can do it. And I do think it's easier when you're a band.
Yeah, it would be. I don't know why I'm so resistant to it. I don't have a problem with anyone else doing it. I think it's great. All my friends are X band, but I'm oh, I just don't know.
Well, for anybody listening, if you feel this way, you are not alone.
Yay.
And yeah, you are not alone. And if you need to form a duo or a band or whatever to make yourself feel comfortable promoting yourself, then do it because you need to promote yourself. Otherwise people aren't going to hear your music.
Yep. Yeah. And it's definitely a stumbling block for me. So I'm thankful to texting. This is awesome.
Well, this has been so great. I'm so glad that you were willing to come on and provide all these really actionable tips and get very specific because that's what I'm about. I mean, there's no point in giving general information and then people are like, well, how in the world do I make this happen? So I think they really got what they needed to actually go out and do this tomorrow or today. So can you let people know how they can get in touch with you if they have any more questions, or if they want to hear your music and download your free, and tell them how to text you so they can get your free download?
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's see. So if you wanted to test the whole texting thing out and just kind of see how it works, and you can kind of see the dummy web page that I've set up for that. So you can text the keyword free music, squish it together like a compound word, to 88202. And then it'll send you the link, and then you click on the link, and then you'll see that page. And if you have any questions, feel free to go to careykeavy.com. So CareyKeav as in Victor Y.com. And you can message me from there or find me on Facebook. So I would love to help anyone who needs help setting that up. I'm super excited about that idea. And so, yeah, message me.
Awesome. Go do it, you guys. And thank you so much, Carey, for coming on and telling us all this great information.
Thank you, Bree. Keep doing your awesome, encouraging work. You're changing lives.
Oh, I will.
Now go out and make great music, connect with your fans, and grow your business. Female Entrepreneur Musician has been brought to you by FEmusician.com and FemaleMusicianAcademy.com. With editing by Jen Eads of 317 Sound Design and music by Stella Ronson.